The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, dedicated to creating access to financial well-being for local people, businesses, and communities. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, we hop into a local spaceship to hear how others are helping in Hampton Pond, hopping in Hampton Pond to help the Amelia Park Children's Museum in Westfield.
And our weekly chat with the congressman for the 2nd District, Jim McGovern, as the headlines and events on Capitol Hill continue to make us all reel.
But first, an extra special live music Thursday with our in-studio guest, Patty Larkin.
Patty Larkin is a visionary of sound and wonder, a real-deal version of artistry made of equal parts guitar wizardry, soul-fueled vocals, and inventive lyrics that ripple across the terrain of the heart. Raised in the Midwest and kin to many musicians and storytellers, she studied English literature and folklore, followed by jazz guitar and voice at the Berklee College of Music. While in Boston, Patty honed her performance chops in listening rooms, clubs, and festivals.
She has 11 studio albums, 2 live recordings, including her innovative 14th release, Bird in a Cage, which puts poems from 10 notable poets to song, including poet laureate William Carlos Williams, Robert Pinsky, Billy Collins. Still Green, an album written in a dune shack on the outer banks of Cape Cod's National Seashore, and 25, which she kindly brought with her in CD form, a retrospective album that includes contributions of 25 friends, among them Roseanne Cash, Suzanne Vega, Janice Ian, Bruce Coburn, Mary Chapin Carpenter, Greg Brown, and a couple locals like Peter Mulvey and Aaron McKeown on there as well.
Indeed. Her songs have been covered by various artists, including Cher and Holly Cole, and have been featured in television and film. With 11 Boston Music Awards to her credit, Patty is also the recipient of an honorary doctorate of music from Berklee College of Music, and she's been honored by Boston Mayor Thomas Menino for her music and philanthropy.
And tonight, she'll join singer-songwriters John Gorka, Lucy Kaplansky, and Cliff Eberhardt on stage right here in Springfield at the new Hope Center for the Arts for the program On a Winter's Night, which celebrates this cold season through song. We welcome to the Fabulous 413, Patty Larkin. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, our pleasure.
Let's start out with a song, and then we'll
let's.
chat.
Sure. Bells are ringing, sirens going off. It's a holiday season, get out your greeting card. It's kinda like a birthday, kinda like a freeway, kinda like violins, kinda like a tango. Me and you again. Bits of metal, heart of gold and will of steel. Pulled to the magnet and pounded out into a wheel. Kinda like a moving train, kinda like a haunting refrain that you hear on the wind. Kinda like a tango, me and you again. Don't change outfits and don't bother pressing your clothes. Coming to see you, and I want to see you up close. Kinda like romance, kinda like tight pants, kinda like original sin, kinda like a tango, being you again. precise encounters. All that I remember is all the love in my life, all the love in my life, all the love in my life, all the love in my life. Bells are ringing and sirens going off. It's holiday season. Get out your greeting card. Kind of like champagne, kind of like Coltrane. The volume turned up to 10. Kind of like a tango. Me and you again. Kind of like ballet legs, just like lambada craze, dancing till dawn in the den. Kind of like a tango, me and you again. Yeah.
Dropping D in the middle of that end of the song there. Patty Larkin live here in the fabulous 413 playing tonight on a winter's night, a special performance at the Hope Center for the Arts in Springfield alongside John Gorka, Lucy Kaplansky, and Cliff Eberhardt.
Anytime somebody reaches for their pegs in the middle of playing a song, I'm like, oh,
We're going down.
Yeah, drop
also,
D.
like just in well, like amongst other things, but like any time seeing you play, and I remember working shows that you played at the Horse when I used to work there. Just like your style and how much space you're able to put in a song that's even that busy and that like has so much going on is just like it's a beautiful thing to witness and hear. It's so cool. This show has been going on for a long period of time. On a Winter's Night it has been a long-going series. What was the original impetus for this concert?
Mastermind Christine Lavin, years and years ago, like late 80s, she called it a make-up music album. I think it might have been a CD. I can't even remember what format it came in. But so I think there were maybe 20, 25 artists that were on it, and all the people on the current it's a flash drive now. It's much easier to carry. And nobody knows what to do with the CDs, really. But so
I can't even play them in my car anymore. I don't even have a CD player.
I know. So we did tours back then with John Gorka and David Wilcox, and Cliff was in there, and then Cheryl Wheeler was part of that team, and years flew by, and she started a reunion tour right just before COVID. So we did some shows, then shut it down, and coming back, Lucy Kaplansky came on the roster, and this team has been playing together for 4 years. And the really amazing part of it is it was Lucy's idea, I have to credit Dr. Kaplansky, that that people really enjoy it when we all sing together and play together, whatever. They're so talented. Each one is just an amazing singer, and I find it really inspiring. So we've become sort of this band unit, singing on each other's material and playing on it. And It's really fun. Because it's tiring touring, but when you get to the venue and oh, look, my friends are there. I stubbed my toe earlier in the bathtub, but this is perfect. So we're doing 27 shows across the country. Last year we did 26, and it's like a Rolling Thunder folk review kind of,
I love it. And it's just
That's
like
wonderful.
songwriters in the round and
It is.
storytelling and having everybody playing on stage at the same time.
It's
And
really
a
fun.
balm for the soul in a time
That
of
is
the
what I was
year
Yeah.
when the weather can get people down, if not the political climate.
Yeah, both.
Yes.
Both.
Yes,
both.
We're
Well-
trying to address, both. We're
Yeah.
trying to not gloss over what's going on in the world and our country. And
You can
Not
talk
every-
about the winter ice and also other ice.
oh dear.
Well, welcome to our show.
Yes. And you need to get to your show because it's happening tonight with doors at 6 and the show at 7. And
7.
even though it's right around the corner from here, we want to hear one more song from Patty Larkin, who's performing as part of On a Winter's Night at the Hope Center in Springfield with John Gorka, Lucy Kaplansky, and Cliff Eberhardt tonight. Let's hear something else from the great Patty Larkin, who joins us live in the Fabulous 413.
See. Hang on. This is the tuning part. Here we go. We are surrounded by so much water that we might as well get a boat. We could swim like Neptune's daughter to the other side of the moat. Coming up for air. Rising to a very new somewhere. Coming up for air. Last breath around. We are sleeping in a canyon where the walls rise up to the sky. We could reach the rim by standing and begin to breathe with a sigh. Coming up for air. Rising to a very new somewhere. Coming up for air. Last breath around. We are swaying like a willow that is weeping over the view. We could wave goodbye fly into the hills and into blue. Yeah, yeah. Coming up for air. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rising to a very new somewhere. Coming up for air. Last breath around. Last breath around. On the last breath.
So good.
So good. The great Patty Larkin in studio with us right now, and we'll be at the Hope Center for the Arts in Springfield tonight on a winter's night. Songwriters in the round alongside John Gorka, Lucy Kaplansky, and Cliff Eberhardt. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
coming
much
by.
for having me. It was so much fun.
What a delight.
Yes, indeed.
Same.
Later in the show, we will check out a local spaceship and how you can hop into a cold lake and help out the Amelia Park Children's Museum in Westfield.
But next, our weekly chat with Congressman for the 2nd District, Jim McGovern.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
Kept each other warm.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Dean's Beans Organic Coffee, a locally based, worker-owned company committed to social and environmental responsibility, roasting fair trade, organic, shade-grown coffee since 1993. DeansBeans.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Eastside Grill, celebrating 40 years in downtown Northampton, serving steaks, seafood, and American cuisine to the Pioneer Valley and beyond. Open Wednesday through Monday. EastsideGrill.com.
Hey there.
Hey, sorry. We're in between emergency hearings, so I got a little space right now. I figured I'd give you a call.
Oh, thanks. I heard that you were reconvening after an all-night Rules Committee session, and I was afraid that if you did this phone call, we would ruin America because you wouldn't be in the Rules Committee.
No, we just finished the Rules Committee and going on the floor.
Well, good. I'm glad that you were able to make time for us, and I won't keep you. Time once again for our weekly conversation with U.S. Congressman from the 2nd Congressional District of Massachusetts, Congressman Jim McGovern, in a segment we like to call McGoverning with McGovern. I'll lead off with my favorite Congressman McGovern quote of the week is, well, he said a lot of crazy today. I think it's time to take the keys away from Grandpa. It doesn't seem like he's all there. We'll get to that in a minute, but we'll start out with what is going on today because, according to Politico, they say buckle up for a long, wild day as House GOP leaders try to muscle through the last 4 fiscal 2026 spending bills today. And as I had mentioned, I know the Rules Committee adjourned overnight and got together early again this morning. What is in this last 4 fiscal 26 spending package? I think a lot of it has to do with Homeland Security and maybe some stuff having to do with Venezuela.
Yeah, so there's Homeland Security appropriations, there's a Defense Department appropriations bill, there's a Labor HHS appropriation bill, and a Transportation HUD appropriation bill. They're bunching the Defense, Transportation, and Labor HHS together as one vote, and then there's a separate vote on Homeland Security, and then they will all be tied together at the end and go over to the Senate as one package if they all pass. And look, this is a lousy way to govern. I mean, the Rules Committee had a long meeting yesterday. Lots of people came up with amendments on freezing any Defense Department funds in a way so they can't be used to attack a NATO ally or go or invade Greenland, and a ton of amendments, to reel in ICE. I mean, which is out of control. We see that not only in Minnesota, but we see it all over the country.
They're coming to Maine, it looks like.
ICE.
Yes.
Yeah, Maine, right. And I think Massachusetts is not far behind. But there's a lot of bad stuff happening in this country, and there were a lot of thoughtful amendments brought to the Rules Committee to try to address these things. The Rules Committee basically just blocked every single Democratic Democratic amendment. So none of these amendments will be debated. So people are going to have to decide how to vote on this stuff. I can't vote for an appropriation bill to fund ICE. I believe we should defund ICE. This is a rogue force, masked, heavily armed troops that are targeting American citizens now. We're reading about how off-duty police officers are being picked up by ICE, how members of the Cherokee Nation are being picked up by ICE, and how families are being separated. And we all know, what happened with the terrible murder of this 37-year-old mother in Minneapolis. So this will all unfold today. On top of that, my war powers resolution on Venezuela, ripens, so we will debate that later in the afternoon. It's going to be a close vote. I know Marco Rubio is on the phone calling not just Republicans but Democrats to try to assure them that they won't do anything without consulting with Congress. Well, they've already done something in Venezuela without consulting with Congress. And by the way, they consulted with oil company executives and not with members of Congress. So, I don't trust these guys to tell me the correct time, but these are serious bills, and quite frankly, we should vote no on them.
Speaking with U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern about this busy day in the House of Representatives and these spending bills, you did mention ICE, and there was an MLK Day speech that you gave in Worcester where you said, quote, "Dr. King did not teach us to manage injustice. He taught us to fight it. That's why I'm fighting to prevent ICE from getting another cent. Trump's secret police must be abolished." Some of your colleagues in the Senate and the House of Representatives have ideas about what to do with ICE and its funding. Senator Ed Markey reintroduced legislation with Representative Ayanna Pressley last week that would end qualified immunity for federal officials, including ICE agents. Representative Seth Moulton, who's also running for Senate against Markey, began pushing a different bill that would siphon funding away from ICE and toward health care tax credits. That's all from Politico. What's your take on these proposals from your colleagues in Congress in response to ICE and ICE funding?
Look, I support any amendment or any effort to rein in ICE, to promote accountability within ICE. But at that Martin Luther King Day breakfast in Worcester, I said, I'm not content at managing ICE. I want to abolish it. I think it's beyond the point where it can be salvaged. What we're learning is that a number of the people that are now becoming ICE agents have troubled backgrounds, are not getting adequate training. Some of them have really, really racist backgrounds, and, they get a $50,000 signing bonus, and, they get minimal training, and then they're on the streets, and we see what's happening. So, look, I support anything to rein them in. I think we need to have a discussion about just abolishing it. We need to start over here. There's going to be a better way to do this. And as I also pointed out at that breakfast, this attack on our immigrant community has to stop. Immigrants make this country better. We are all a nation of immigrants, for God's sake. And, when I hear people say, we should deport all the immigrants, our economy would collapse. This is so wrong. This is about creating a scapegoat so that people in power don't have to take responsibility for the lousy economy.
Speaking with U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern, worth noting, it sounds inflammatory to say to abolish ICE. ICE has only existed since 2003, so it's not like it's a long-standing institution. 2003 still feels like yesterday to me. And is there a funding vote about ICE that's due by January 30th? Is that what I'm led to believe?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Appropriations for ICE, in some respects, runs out on January 30th. But in the big, ugly bill that passed a few months back, Republicans put in like $75 billion for ICE and ICE operations. So there's funding already there. This is additional funding for ICE. And again, there is nothing in this bill. There's not even an attempt by Congress to try to reel in the excesses of ICE. So basically, if this passes, it's business as usual. ICE gets more money, and they could do whatever the hell they want to do. We've had this discussion here in Washington amongst my Democratic colleagues, but even back home when I'm talking to different groups, there are people who are a little bit nervous about saying anything because they don't want to be targeted. You hear ICE officials saying, if you start talking about how bad ICE is, I'm going to put you on a list. And I get it. That's intimidating. But this is a moment where we either stand up and push back, again, coming so soon after Martin Luther King's birthday. What would he have done? And he would have been on the streets. And at this moment in our history, impatience is a virtue. We can't just go along to get along because things are changing very, very rapidly.
Speaking with U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern, a listener question sort of to that end. We have heard over the years, especially in the first Trump administration, about how Northampton and Amherst had become sanctuary cities. There were immigrants who were on the road to citizenship, who were doing everything right by the government at that time, who had to take up sanctuary in churches. Susan Triolo asks, I heard on the news that Donald Trump wants to cut funds to Amherst and Northampton because they are sanctuary cities. Are you hearing anything about actual funding cuts to these cities in your district that are sanctuary cities?
Well, he's threatening that, but technically, I mean, monies that have been appropriated by Congress, because Congress has the power of the purse, technically and legally cannot be frozen because the president doesn't like a particular community or not. He's frozen monies for various communities already, and various states, blue states in particular, which I believe is illegal. The Supreme Court is moving at a snail's pace on some of this stuff, but he may try. And again, he's a bully. And what he wants you to think is that, you know, if you stand up for justice, if you stand up for human rights, that there'll be a price to pay. And, you know, the people, you know, who he's bringing together on his so-called peace council, you know, are all the biggest dictators in the world, you know, who have accumulated the most body counts in terms of going after people who dissent in their own countries. Those are his heroes. And I don't know if you heard the speech at Davos, but boy, oh God, I mean, I thought that was just nuts.
Well, that leads us to the quote that I led off with from Davos, where you were giving your opinion about that particular speech, and I will quote it again because I love swearing on the radio, even though I have to bleep it out. It's one of the freedoms I thought we would get after Trump took over, that we'd be able to say swears on the radio, because we say them all the time in regular life. Well, he said a lot of crazy today. I think it's time to take the keys away from Grandpa. It doesn't seem like he's all there. What a tumultuous week it's been on the world stage for the United States and Davos, which is a controversial meeting to begin with, as it is the world's wealthiest folks kind of setting an agenda for the globe. The Huffington Post says, Danishing Act, which I think is a funny little headline. After creating a crisis over Greenland, Trump declares victory and ends it. After first threatening a trade war and hinting at an actual war to wrest control of Greenland away from Denmark, Trump yesterday backed away from all his threats and claimed victory. What are your colleagues saying after this week, when it looked like we might actually have to go to war against NATO, our allies, to try to seize Greenland of all places?
Yeah, I guess what he didn't expect was that some of our allies actually sent troops to Greenland.
Yeah.
I think what he didn't expect is the stock market would tank because the whole world was horrified, particularly our European allies, about his rhetoric. And somebody must have got to him and said, you're threatening the economic collapse of our country if you continue down this road. And he backed off and said, we got a great deal. I've declared victory. Well, what we're learning is that the great deal is what currently exists. You know, U.S. has a military base in Greenland. You can keep it there. As they said before, if you want to, expand your presence, we're happy to have a conversation with you. But you can't take us over. You can't annex us, and we're not going to let you invade us. And that's that. I mean, he looks to me foolish, and he's trying to stay face. And he has boosters here who will say, "Oh, he's a brilliant negotiator," which is so ridiculous. What he has done is he has lowered our standing in the world. People don't trust us. Our allies don't trust us. I mean, our allies were sending troops to defend Greenland from us. This is extraordinary. I mean, I saw an interview with somebody who was wearing a MAGA hat in Greenland, and the reporter said, "Oh, you support MAGA." He says, "No, the MAGA here is Make America Go Away."
Uh-huh.
I mean, amongst our allies, I think our relationship should be one of mutual respect, where people appreciate and like us and support us, and we appreciate and like and support them. But he has soured that, and I don't know what the long-term economic and strategic impacts are going to be, because there is a lot of distrust. His crazy letter, to the head of Norway, that I'm really upset that I didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, so I'm not going to be thinking peacefully anymore.
Yeah.
This is not normal. I'm sorry. This is unprecedented in terms of how unhinged it is, and yet it's happening every day. This is crazy. His rambly speech, I mean, going after Ilhan Omar, making fun of the president of France. And I mean, it's embarrassing. And Republicans need to do an intervention and say enough. I think his physical and mental state is deteriorating. I mean, I really do. And it's happening right before our eyes. And they're all trying to make believe like, oh, he's wonderful. I mean, give me a break.
More coming up with Congressman Jim McGovern because, well, a lot has happened this week.
After which, we'll hear about the Penguin Plunge fundraiser for the Amelia Park Children's Museum in Westfield this weekend.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
Speaking with U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern, at Davos, there was more talk about this so-called Board of Peace that you mentioned earlier, and its possible replacement for the United Nations. What are your colleagues in the House, especially Republican colleagues, thinking about this so-called Board of Peace that does have some folks signing up to it? It's supposed to have to do with the reconstruction of Gaza, but as you mentioned, has a lot of interesting participants from Hungary and Israel, other countries like that. What's your take on the Board of Peace?
Yeah, it's a sham and it's a fraud. And you know what? People need to call it out for what it is. And if we're interested in the reconstruction of Gaza, we ought to be telling Bibi Netanyahu to allow humanitarian aid and economic assistance to get into the people of Gaza. We ought to tell them to allow reporters to be able to go into Gaza and see for themselves and report the facts on their own without having to be accompanied by the Israeli military. We ought to be telling them that annexing the West Bank is a bad idea. You know, you want to talk about peace in the Middle East and in Israel right now, that's what you need to be talking about. But let me tell you that when you look at the people that are signing up for this, that are to give $1 billion to sign up for this, these are not people who are champions of human rights. They're not people who are champions of peace. They are people who are champions of power for the sake of power. I mean, to blow up the UN because they won't get on bended knee and genuflect in front of Donald Trump. I mean, what a tragedy. He is undoing what is positive about this country and about what is good in our alliances in a very, very short time. And it's going to be hard to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, if we don't stop this in its tracks right now.
Listener Bernadette Jones, in regards to global politics and the potential for war, wants to know, can Congress get the president to extend the START treaty, which expires on February 5th? Putin has already agreed. Bernadette says we cannot let this world become any more unstable than Trump has already made it by unleashing a nuclear arms race. What about the START treaty, and does Congress weigh in on that?
Well, a number of us last week gave speeches on the floor urging the president to do just that. I wish Congress would vote on a resolution to instruct him to do that. Congress will not, under this leadership, they will not do that. And if we don't extend the START treaty, then everybody's free to do whatever the hell they want to do. That could mean building more nuclear weapons, which is not in our security interest, not in global security interest. It's just a bad idea, and it's fabulously expensive. We need to get arms control back on the agenda. I mean, I have a resolution calling on the United States to take a leadership role in lowering the number of nuclear weapons, moving ultimately toward the abolishment of nuclear weapons. This is an urgent topic, and it needs to get back on the radar screen, and some of us are trying to do that.
A lot of people are thinking that the Greenland, Venezuela exploits are a distraction from the Epstein files, which still haven't been released fully. According to the New York Times, a House panel voted yesterday to charge Bill and Hillary Clinton with criminal contempt of Congress for refusing to testify in the Epstein investigation. The votes were bipartisan. Were you part of that vote? What's your take on that vote? And what's the latest with the Epstein files?
I'm not on the committee, but here's a radical idea. It would seem to me that if you're doing genuine oversight, that the first thing you would demand is that you have access to the files. And Congress passed a bill to demand the release of the files. The president reluctantly signed it. That was a while ago, and less than 1% of the files have been released. So you can call Bill and Hillary Clinton, to testify. You can call whoever you want to testify. But not having the files would seem to me to put you at a disadvantage. I mean, like what are you questioning them about? I don't know what's in these files. I'm now coming to believe there must be something really embarrassing in these files from Donald Trump's perspectives, because they're moving heaven and earth to block access to this. I mean, I don't know what Hillary Clinton knows about the Epstein files. Bill Clinton has been in pictures with Jeffrey Epstein, but he has said, you come to my office and I will answer every question. I'll answer any question you want, but I have to insist that you release all the files, because cherry picking pictures of me and Jeffrey Epstein and hiding all the ones of Donald Trump, I mean, that's a political investigation. It's not an investigation that the survivors and the victims of Jeffrey Epstein's terrible abuse are wanting. They don't want a political show. They want the truth. And wherever the truth is, I mean, if it's Democrats that are involved or Republicans are involved, they ought to be held accountable. They ought to be exposed. So this should not be about politics. It should be about holding everybody who's involved in this terrible episode to account. To do anything short of that, I mean, really is disrespectful to the survivors.
Congressman Jim McGovern will be at the Pacachog Center this Saturday for Coffee with the Congressman in Auburn, Massachusetts, between 9 and, it says 10, but probably more like noon.
Yeah,
with these things. What's giving you hope this week, Congressman?
You know what gives me? I had a good conversation the other day with our friend Packy Whelan, and
local activist.
She gives me a lot of hope.
She gets arrested all the time.
Global activist, human rights activist, champion for justice. And what's hopeful is that there are still people in our community, who are fighting to make this country better. Who understand that loving America is not about defending what it is, but fighting for what it can be. I appreciate her steadfastness. If John Lewis were alive, he would be saying, she's the epitome of a person who makes good trouble every single day of her life. So I'm going to do a shout out to Packy for all of her good work.
She also asks a lot of questions on this show, which we also appreciate. Comes on the Food Bank March. Right, she's a wonderful human being.
Yeah, she's any good cause, she's there.
U.S. Congressman from the 2nd Congressional District of Massachusetts joins us every Thursday for McGoverning with McGovern. If you've got a question for Congressman McGovern, you can send it our way, thefab413@nepm.org. Thanks, as always, Congressman.
All the best. Thanks.
And now we go play with planets and taiko drums and more in Westfield at the Amelia Park Children's Museum.
Plus, you'll learn how you can help them keep going this weekend at their Penguin Plunge at Hampton Pond.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar, helping Western Mass families achieve greater energy independence through solar power, battery systems, and air source heat pumps. Northeast-solar.com.
There's a whole spaceship in the lobby of this building.
Yes, there is. A spaceship has landed here at the Westfield Children's Museum, the Amelia Parks Children's Museum in Westfield, and we're here to get a little tour and to talk about their Penguin Polar Plunge that is happening on Saturday. What's your name?
Diane Chambers.
You're the executive director here?
That is correct.
Amelia Parks. There's a giant arena right over there, and then this museum is named after Amelia Parks. Who's Amelia Parks?
Amelia Park is named after Amelia First. Her husband, Al First, donated money for all of the ice arena, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Children's Museum.
Okay, so her name isn't Amelia Parks. It's Amelia First, and it's Amelia First Park, but it's just Amelia Park.
Yes, you've got it.
Now I've got it.
She was very charitable, and he wanted to honor her memory with these things for the children.
Which building came first? Because this is like a giant child's complex with the Boys and Girls Club and the fields and the ice hockey rink.
Yeah.
First came the Boys and Girls Club, but it was not the Amelia Park Boys and Girls Club, and it just kept growing and growing. When I first was aware of it, they were looking for a little van. Now they have a fleet of school buses, so they have tremendously grown.
I'll also just quickly add, if you don't want a polar plunge but want to do something else fun in Westfield with the Boys and Girls Club, Super Smash Bros. Gaming event on Saturday.
The arena came next. They're celebrating their 25th year, so 2000, 2001, the arena was built, and our building was built and opened in 2008.
And there was a children's museum somewhere else that just moved to this complex?
Right. It was on Elm Street from 97 till it opened here in 2008.
You've been here for about 5 years, right? An executive director for 3 of those?
That's right.
And you were kind of on the founding board to try to bring this to life?
I was. That was a very exciting period. I had been to the Holyoke Children's Museum with 3 young children, and that was the first time in the whole time I'd been a parent that I was relaxed. I'm like, I've got to get this to Westfield. Uh-huh. And fortunately, I was asked by Mary Jane McMahon, our founder of this museum, if I would help her. She didn't even know of my desire. And so I was very fortunate I hooked up with her, because I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. And it wasn't just me, we had a team.
Oh yeah. Well, show us around. We mentioned the spaceship, but let's go look around the museum and show us what fun stuff the kids can come play with. There it is, the USS Starfire, interplanetary science vessel. Oh, there's a picture of astronaut Katie Coleman here with kids.
And pictures of galaxies above too, so you can really put yourself there, which is pretty cool.
Yep, these are real galaxies, the Crab Nebula, the Stellar Spire, and the Eagle Nebula, and all this sort of fun stuff. And then there's all sorts of buttons and things you can press when you get inside the space shuttle. A vacuum.
I'm trying to figure out where the foam balls go.
Diane, show us how this works.
Got to get a ball.
They're rolling around all over the place here.
We have two apparatus that suck the ball up into the sun. So this is supposed to look like the solar system.
Oh, cool. So it's like, here they all come. Khalees just got bombarded with all these balls that came out of this giant sun above us.
That's awesome. I would do this all day.
Yeah, it'd be fun to just drop balls on people out of the sun when they weren't expecting it.
Our sun looks like a Pac-Man. So many people think they're the Pac-Man empties, but the sun turns every 6 minutes and drops the balls.
It's like if Pac-Man threw up the little balls that Pac-Man eats when it's trying to chase ghosts.
He does eat a lot of those, and when you eat a lot, that happens.
Yeah, sure. Let's see what else is here at the Amelia Park Children's Museum in Westfield.
Every time we're in a children's museum, I'm reminded how easily I am amused.
Up there, on the way to the slide, we have what we call the rocket blasters, where you can insert the balls and push a button, and then the balls get blasted out.
Okay, let's do it. I'm inserting the balls. I don't know how well you can aim these. Oh, it's only aiming up, so I can't even point it down at Diane, the executive director. But I can hit the spaceship, which I have done. I have struck the USS Starfire. Ooh, that one went all the way to the front desk.
Oh, whoops, sorry. Is that a microscope?
It is a microscope, and we have a couple of slides that kids can look at and see specimens.
Fun. What are we seeing?
That's a butterfly wing. That's a really nice microscope because you can actually see. I personally never was able to see anything in a microscope before. I think I only ever saw my eyelashes.
Yeah, but this one has a giant eyepiece, so you don't even need to put your eye up against it. You can just see.
And there's cool things like snake skin that you can look at, so you can see more of like the skin cells and insects. Okay, cool.
It's got one of those fun house mirrors that makes you feel bad about yourself, so that's good.
Not in this case. It makes me look like I'm floating. It's great.
I guess so, yeah, in that way, but it looks like I'm about 1 foot tall and about 3 feet wide.
There are worse things.
There's a music station over here with gongs and other fun stuff to play.
Yay, percussion. And a piano behind you, continuing on the percussion theme.
Where's the piano?
Behind.
Oh, nice.
Do you have a fever?
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
We've always wanted a city street, so we have a bank, we have a cafe, grocery store, and we have what we call the Kids and Critters Corner, which is where the kids learn about caring for others. Then kids love dinosaurs, so we have a dino dig. We have a train that's a relatively new exhibit that the kids love to build train tracks. They can also drive the train. I don't know if you can hear in the background right now, there's a train whistle.
I hear a bell.
Right here, at our construction zone, it's a little bit athletic, where you can try to toss the ball up and it can either come down an arcade type thing of tools, or you throw it up onto the roof and it comes down through the gutter, again, to the arcade of tools.
Much more fun than when you throw your actual balls on actual roofs.
I got it into the tools. It's like Plinko and Price is Right. There's a giant drum over here.
This exhibit was given to us 3 years ago, and it's Asian cultural exhibit, and we have South Korea, Japan, and China. We have different music exhibits from that, and it does take up a lot of space, and it is very noisy.
I love that. Giving kids drums is A, the best idea, and B, yes, very noisy. But there's also a K-pop stage where you can take your picture in front of what looks like a K-pop audience.
And sing Golden, of course.
Of course.
I will say that these are not nearly as loud as actual taiko drums.
Yeah, the taiko drums are really loud. I was expecting it to be very, very loud, but I'm going to just stay here all day and groove. Practice my paradiddles. Oh, and here's a little kid dressed like Spider-Man playing some tubular bells and chimes. Ready, kid? Bang a gong. It's just like T-Rex. Speaking of T-Rex, here's the dinosaurs. About how many kids come through here in a year?
We have had last year 41,000.
Wow! That's a lot of kids. Where are they coming from?
Well, they come from all over. Last time we checked, we had from 15 states as far away as Washington and the Virgin Islands. And of course, 3/4 of them come from Westfield and the surrounding communities.
The Dino Dig area is really fun because it's like a big sandbox with dinosaurs in it. Oh, the kids are playing in the sand, throwing it up in the air. I love that.
They're looking for fossils.
Yeah, they're looking for fossils. Good trouble.
You don't always see a dentist's office in a children's museum, so this is interesting.
Oh yeah, here's a dentist's chair. It's probably a good way to keep the kids from being afraid of going to the dentist.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah. Especially when you bring out these tweezers that are right over here and put them near their mouths. You got a fun little outdoor area too, which clearly is not something that we should be going on today.
No, we should not, but we are planning to have that entirely renovated and a new outstanding play learning space by midsummer.
Well, speaking of outdoors, Saturday there is a fundraiser for the Amelia Park Children's Museum here in Westfield. Tell us all about that, Diane Chambers, the executive director of the museum.
Well, this is our 21st year of holding the Penguin Plunge. Through the years, we've raised $370,000, and it involves people coming to Hampton Pond State Park and daring to run into the water and run out. We have changing tents that are heated, so they'll be nice and toasty. We ask for a donation of $75 a person, or they can raise more, $50 if they're under the age of 18.
Can you pay to not plunge?
Well, that'd be a great idea. I should do that.
Here's $75 so that I don't have to do this.
I love that idea.
Have it be a race between you and your friends. Your friends keep paying to make you go, and you keep paying to not go.
Yeah, but everybody pays so that it all goes to support the museum.
Indeed.
How does the museum get most of its funding? Are you publicly funded in any way, or by the city of Westfield, or by the state, or is it all donations and admission?
Currently, we are mainly through admissions and our fundraisers, but we have, through the last year, we have hired a grant writer, and we are getting in more money that way, and we look forward to getting more through sponsorships and donations.
So are you a nonprofit, or?
We are a nonprofit.
Let's keep walking through the Children's Museum in Westfield. This is the little city street we were talking about. There's a grocery and bakery. We can play with all the kitchen stuff, and I see some unscented laundry detergent, which is the kind we use at home sometimes because my wife does not like the scented laundry detergent. And here's the bank. Ooh, this bank has a vault in it. Do you know what $1 million looks like? Open the vault to see. Pick a code level, match the code to unlock, listen, then open, look inside, close the door.
It's like a Simon thing.
Let's try impossible. Now what?
I don't think it worked.
It's already open. Yes, they said it was impossible. These are stacks of $1 bills. They have what one looks like, what 100 looks like, what 1,000 looks like in $1 bills, and then the million. It's stark.
They also have a 10,000 stack.
Oh yeah, so you can
and
see
then
that
you
there's
can see
stacks
the 10,000
of 10,000.
Yeah, that is a lot.
It's a very cool way to realize about income inequality by looking through this children's museum. Then there is a cow milking section.
I love this.
There is a plastic cow with some teats that you can practice milking, which I'm about to do now. Real milk. Well, what is this? I'm sure it's water, but it's coming out into a real bucket. This is fun. I've never really milked a cow.
Really?
This is the closest I've ever come. My dad, even though he grew up in Boston, somehow won a cow milking contest, and it was like the highlight of his life, and I don't know, maybe it's family tradition now. There's something cathartic about milking a fake cow.
Because it can't kick you.
That's true.
I noticed that there's an art class going on in one of the back rooms, and winter break is coming up. Winter school break for folks in Massachusetts is coming up. Do you have special programming that happens that week?
We will have daily art programs as we have now, but we do not do anything special. We are very popular that week. we don't need to do anything too special.
Fair enough. I love how much science there is in this particular children's museum. Often there's a balance, but I like that there's so much science forward and science fun activities to do here, not the least of which is your giant space rocket. Is there an important balance between the things that are scientific, the things that are community oriented, and the things that are more art based?
I really like that idea. Right now, we're just focusing on making every exhibit engaging. Most of the exhibits that are here were here when I got here. We've just been embellishing each one so that kids will enjoy every inch of space that we have.
So Diane from the Amelia Parks Children's Museum, once again, tell us how people can get involved in this penguin plunge on Saturday.
Hampton Pond State Park. It's in the north end of Westfield. You can go to our website, ameliaparkmuseum.org, and we have a page for Penguin Plunge 2026. And then we have a place you can register and a place where you can donate. If you're not willing to plunge, you can still donate. Also, if you want to plunge, you can just show up on Saturday at Hampton Pond State Park between 11:30 and 12:30. That's when our registration is, and the plunge is at 1. I think it's pretty exciting. There's people out there that think jumping in a lake in the winter is fun.
Yeah. Usually when people tell me to go jump in a lake, they don't mean it nicely.
But now you can do it and help your community.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for coming in.
Are you kidding? Adults being in children's museums is like the best thing ever.
Yeah, now that my kids are all big, I can't get away with coming into children's museums anymore unless we go with the executive director,
no,
so we're glad to do so.
They put you on a list.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to be on that list.
And I woke up this morning with the cold.
Thanks again to the Amelia Parks Children's Museum there in Westfield. A quick Oscar rundown. The nominations were released today. Our guest from 2 weeks ago on the show, Dennis Berardi, the visual effects supervisor for Frankenstein, robbed. Good news, Chloe Zhao, Mount Holyoke alumna, 2 nominations for Hamnet, and our 2-time guest on this show from Springfield, Massachusetts, Ruth E. Carter has become the most nominated black woman of all time when it comes to the Academy Awards for her work with Sinners, which is now the most nominated movie of all time.
And that is really cool, except that like Angela Bassett is a whole human being. And when you think about that in context, especially like with Sinners being that context, it just is. It's a little mind-blowing in a way that really should be examined.
I think so, too. She was tied with Viola Davis. Now she's tied with Spike Lee and Morgan Freeman for the 3rd most nominated creative all-time, trailing Quincy Jones and Denzel Washington there. So we'll see what happens when it comes to the actual winners. On the next Fabulous 413, a preview of the true New England winter that awaits us this weekend with none other than Dave Hayes, the weather nut.
You might have heard about snowpocalypse on the way, plus a wine thunderdome to keep some of you cozy while you're stuck underneath all that snow and avoiding shoveling at State Street Fruit Store, Deli Wine and Spirits.
And Live Music Friday with beats right out of the hill towns with Cole Rain's Unagi before the show in Florence at JJ's Tavern this weekend.
And here are some of those beats right now. I'm Khalees Smith.
I'm Monty Belmonte.
We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413.
They can't stand it, never see me in a Prius. The rider's so gutless. Once I get some money, I'ma buy a Olds Cutlass. 442 dude, yeah, you know how we do.